Guys, welcome back to Southern Extreme TV. Today I have what I think is a decent video for you guys. I'm going to be switching gears from the hunting and shooting and product review type of stuff, and hopefully going to be helping you guys out a little bit with the fishing aspect of my channel. There's not a whole lot of fishing videos on my channel. I just don't do it a whole lot. Well, let me rephrase that. I do go fishing a lot. I don't film my fishing a lot because I do a lot of nighttime crappie fishing, and it's really tough to film at night. I mean, there's no simple way to put that. It's just very difficult. But today, what I'm going to be talking about is what is the easiest way to catch fish at a lake, and not just the easiest way, but what rig do I use? If you just want to go to the lake and say, I don't care what I catch, how many I catch, or where I catch them, what is the easiest way to catch fish at the lake, and what is the rig to use? So I've got some equipment laid out, and I'm going to switch the camera angle around so that way you guys can get a nice close-up view as to what the heck is going on. And I'm going to show you exactly what rig I tie and what I use for crappie fishing, pan, bass, all kinds of different fish. And you can use this rig, and it can be so versatile. You can use it across for all species, saltwater, freshwater, anything. But especially in lakes, this is my favorite rig to use. So let's just dive in it, and I'll let you guys take a look at it. Right here are the three basically essential things that you need to make this rig. First of all, obviously you're going to need some hooks. Right here I just have the cheapest Eagle Claw small gold hook, number 6 size. And this is basically the hook that I use for crappie fishing and pan fishing, and if I'm trying to catch small bass, I'll use this as well. But this right here you can switch this out. Any of this stuff you can switch out, guys. You can use bigger hooks, you can use smaller hooks, you can use bigger line, lighter line, you can use bigger sinkers and lighter sinkers. So all of it can be switched out. So first of all, you want to make sure that you have whatever size hook that you want to use. That's going to be the first thing that we're going to need. Second thing that we're going to need is we're going to need some type of leader. You know, it can be monofilament, it can be fluorocarbon. Typically, those are the two that I use the most, is either monofilament or fluorocarbon. When I'm crappie fishing, I love to use braid on my light spinning rods, as small a braid as I can get, because I can really feel my minnow down there swimming around, and I can really feel the bait down there, and I can detect those really subtle bites. So what I like to use leader wise, if I'm going to be using that braid, since that braid doesn't stretch any, and a lot of times the fish that I'm trying to catch have either small mouths or really thin mouths, I like to use a monofilament leader. The reason for that is monofilament has a little bit of stretch to it. Not a lot, but a little bit. And a lot of times it can act as kind of like a spring that can sometimes keep you from ripping the hook out of that fish's mouth if you get too excited and maybe set the hook too hard. Or sometimes these crappie can be really mean, or a bass, or whatever you're fishing for that, or trying to catch for that matter, can be really aggressive. And if they hit it really hard and you have that line directly to braid, sometimes they can just rip that hook straight out of their mouth. So I really like to use monofilament for my leader. If I'm in saltwater, I'll use fluorocarbon, but for this video, we're going to be using monofilament leader. And for this rig that I'm setting up, this is 6-pound test monofilament that I'm going to be demonstrating for you guys. Third of all, actually, what you're going to need is some sinkers. And this right here is just some regular split shot sinkers. And pull one of these. Well, I've actually got 2 laying right here. Get this up here so you guys can take a look at those. So basically, I like using 2 of these. And these are PSS number 7s, quantity 30. And the reason that I really like these is because they have this little tail on there. And hopefully I can get up here where you guys can see. Hopefully you guys can see that little tail there. And what I like about that is a lot of times when I'm fishing this lighter line with live bait and minnows, the line can get tangled up really easy. And 9 times out of 10, when it gets tangled up, it's getting tangled up around your sinkers. So it makes it 7 times easier to just be able to mash those little clips down to open up these sinkers, take the sinkers off your line, and then untangle it, and then just put them right back on there. So that's why I like using those. But you don't have to use it. It's just something that I prefer to use. It keeps things a little bit simpler when I'm out on the boat and I'm out on the lake fishing. So now that we have our materials set to the side and we know what we're going to be using for our rig, let's go and get everything set up. I've got my 2 sinkers here, I've got my small gold hook here, and I've got my monofilament leader. Now obviously my leader is going to be connected to my main line at this end. And what I mean by that is typically I will use I mean you can use a swivel if you don't know how to tie a line to a line knot. There's a lot of videos out there on YouTube that you can watch that'll show you that. But if you're not confident in it, you can use a very, very small swivel. I just don't like using a swivel because it's just something else down there in the water that those fish could see and could possibly get spooked, and might keep you from getting a couple bites. So first things first, we're going to get our hook tied on. So let's go ahead and get this right here tied on, and I'm just going to tie a very simple knot. And it's something that you guys can find a video on, and the knot that you tie, there's no real, you don't have to be specific on what you tie. Just find one that is easy to tie for you and that you trust, and that's usually just what I go with. I mean, there's a lot of fancy knots out there that you can use and that you can try to tie, and I mean, they're nice and stuff. It's just, I like being able to tie the easiest one and the one that I think is going to be the most effective as far as keeping my fish buttoned up. So perfect. So we've got our hook tied to the bottom end of our leader. So there's that. I'm going to trim this little tag end up. Hopefully you guys can see that. So we're going to trim it up. Now I don't like cutting it too close. I like leaving just a very small little amount of kind of tag in there, just in case my knot pulls or slips. I have a little bit there to play with. Typically it doesn't happen, it's just something I like to do. So now that you've got your hook tied on there, what I typically do is whenever I tie my line to line knot, I usually try to have about 1.5 feet of leader in between where my main line starts and where my leader starts. And the reason for that is that's where I like to put my sinkers. Now you can run a longer leader than that if you want. So let's say, for example, if you actually want to run like a 2-foot leader, you're welcome to do that. Or if you want to run something that's shorter, maybe you only want to run a 1-foot leader or a 6-inch leader, you can do that as well. But somewhere in that ballpark, around 1 foot to 1.5 feet is usually where I like to keep my sinker or my leader length at. And what I'll do is around that 1 foot to 1.5 foot mark, that is where I will put my sinkers. And try to do this without pliers. I think I got that on there. And what I like to do is I use 2 of them. And this is something that's really important right here, guys. When you're putting these sinkers on, you want to make sure that they are touching. Okay? So see how, well, I'll drop that, but get this back up here. So you see how I've got those on the line there and they're touching each other? That's very important to this rig, and it's for several different reasons. The first reason is, let's say for example, if you're using a live crappie minnow or something like that, if you have a gap in between your sinkers like that, a lot of times that little bit of a loop can cause something to get tangled up. Your minnow can swim through that gap, and then you have a heck of a mess trying to get that untangled in the middle of the night if you're crappie fishing, or if you're bass fishing during the day. It can just be a headache. So what I found is if you keep those sinkers tagged up, buttoned up right next to each other, and that's where you clamp everything down at, just like so, that right there helps everything stay nice and neat. And a lot of times if that minnow or your live bait does come up and get wrapped up or tangled up, it's a lot easier to get untangled with this rig than if you had those sinkers spaced apart. So guys, that right there is basically it. That is the simplest and easiest way to catch fish at a lake. So you've got 2 split shots on top of your monofilament leader or fluorocarbon if you want, and then you have about a 1 to 1.5 foot section down to whatever size hook that you want. Now, if you're talking about just wanting to go to a lake and just flat out catch fish and you don't care what they are, this specific rig right here that I have tied up with a number 6 size gold hook with 2 small split shot sinkers attached about 1 foot to 1.5 foot above your hook, that is the easiest way to go and flat out catch the heck out of fish. You can catch crappie, you can catch bass, you can catch a lot of panfish, bluegill, perch, all of it you can catch on this rig. Now, earlier in the video I told you guys that this can be fished, it's very versatile, and what I mean by that is, for example, I can take this and I can suspend it straight over the top of a brush pile. So which means is, let's say I've got a brush pile that's in, 20 foot of water, and say that brush pile comes up to 15 foot of water, I can drop this rig straight down to about 13 foot of water, and then I have my minnow dangling right above that brush pile, and you can have bass, crappie, all kinds of fish live down there in those brush piles, and they can come up and they can grab a hold of your bait, and then that's how you catch them. Another good way, or another way that you can fish this exact same rig without changing anything on it at all, is up above it about, let's see, probably 6 inches above where your sinkers are, you can attach a float or a bobber, if you want to call it that. For your fly fishing guys, they're called indicators, basically just all the same thing. And you can go really, really shallow, and you can make long casts with this rig to the bank. So let's say, for example, if there's a tree that is kind of partially in the water, partially out of the water, you can actually make casts with a bobber on top of this right next to those trees, and you can slowly work that bobber back to you and just slowly work that whole section of that tree. And what that'll do is it'll give this bait a suspending presentation all the way along that tree, and it'll give you the ability to fish in a lot of different environments rather than having to be right on top of those fish. A third way that you can fish this rig is, again, so the first way we said was to suspend right over the top of a brush pile or over a point, a set of rocks, a shell bed, anything like that. You can drop down and suspend this rig straight over the top of those fish. The second way is to attach a bobber about 4 to 6 inches above your split shots and cast to banks or cast to visible brush piles, docks, things like that. The third way is you can actually throw this thing and just leave it out on the bottom. And a lot of perch, I've caught a lot of perch doing this. A lot of those perch in the middle of the day, they like to go down real low on the points and stuff on main lakes, especially in the summertime. In 20 to 30 foot of water, you can cast this rig out and let it just sit on the bottom. So you got your sinkers on the bottom there. And what will happen is either A, the current will keep your monofilament leader from your sinkers to your hooks. It'll keep that kind of tight, and your bait will be just kind of swimming around like this on the bottom. Or if there's no current, you'll have your sinker down on the bottom, and then your bait fish or your minnow or whatever it is that you're using will have the ability to kind of swim freely and just move naturally down there on the bottom. And what that'll do is that will attract a lot of different species of fish. I mean, when you're on the bottom like that, you can catch bass, perch, catfish. Every now and again, you'll get lucky and catch a crappie on the bottom. That's few and far between, just because those crappie like to feed in the middle of the water column. Then they like to feed up, so they like to come up from the bottom to catch whatever there is that they're going to feed on. But it has happened. And I mean, there's just a whole bunch of different stuff that you can catch doing that. But this rig right here, guys, is absolutely the easiest rig to tie, the cheapest rig to tie, and the most versatile rig to use to catch fish during all times of year at lakes. And like I said before, guys, you can actually take this rig and you can take it to saltwater fishing, you can take it, to the Great Lakes, or you can take it catfishing, whatever you want to do. Just depending on what style of fishing you're wanting to do, just change up your equipment that you use. So you can use a bigger hook, bigger leader line, and bigger sinkers. And again, it's the exact same type of deal. It can be fished very, very versatilely, and you can just absolutely hammer fish on this rig. So guys, hopefully this video helped y'all out a little bit. I don't usually do this type of video, but I've had some people email me and ask me about some fishing stuff and ask me if I'm gonna start doing some. I really enjoy doing fishing videos and tips and things like that. I just don't do it a lot. So hopefully this video helps you guys out a little bit. I can't thank y'all enough for watching. Hopefully you'll take this information and take it to the lake, and hopefully you will catch some fish, guys. If you use this rig and you go to the lake and you catch some fish, be sure to come back and drop a comment down below and just let some of the other guys know that you've tried it and it works. And hopefully you will get some other people on some fish as well. And as always, guys, I can't thank y'all enough for watching Southern Extreme TV. If you guys don't mind, go ahead and hit that subscribe button in the top left corner for me. It means the absolute world to me. It lets me know that you guys enjoy watching what I'm doing and that you guys are going to come back and keep watching some more videos. And until next time, guys, I'll be sure to bring you on to my next adventure. Thanks for watching, guys.